I love making something out of nothing. I'm not trained, but I am brave and determined. Of course, I could hire a professional, but DIY first. Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. So, I'm back. I got some explaining to do. So, you may have been wondering where I've been and what I've been doing. So, let's go all the way back to October 2023. Corey and I have been talking about getting an investment property for a while. And so he had found this property that has not been loved in a long time. This property needed a lot of work. At the time when we saw the property for the first time, there were tenants that were living there. And so the owner decided to sell the property. I don't know where the people went that lived there, but this property had not been taken care of very well. If I could just describe the smell of the property, it was kind of like a cat house. I don't know how many animals they had. I don't actually remember seeing any animals in the house when we went, but maybe they were there and I just didn't notice because I was so overwhelmed by the smell. But as we went through the house, I was trying to kind of take pictures and it was kind of hard because of the aroma. But also, there was a lot of clutter. We decided to go ahead and purchase the property. We decided to hire a contractor because, number one, we were not sure. We thought that the lender required that we have a contractor who's licensed and all of that stuff. We were not sure about that, but we thought that that was required based off of the paperwork that we had. But also, we wanted to hire someone because we are both busy. At the time, I was trying to be very consistent with YouTube and, had a lot of different projects. I think around that time was when I was working on finishing my kitchen. And so I had a lot going on with that and other projects that I wanted to get started on. So I had a lot going on at the time, and so did Corey with his work. So we hired a contractor with for the sole purpose of trying to expedite the renovations of the project and to get it done quickly, but also to get it done properly. We assumed that there would be things in the property that needed to be done that we were not familiar with. And this person came recommended to us by our real estate agent who helped us purchase the property. So that was mistake number one, was blind trust without verification. So we move forward. We go ahead and purchase the property and work starts. The house had a lot of carpet everywhere. So we were really excited when we learned that there were actually original hardwood floors throughout most of the property. We had the demo people come through and they started taking out things. They actually, like, hindsight looking back, there were things that they removed that they shouldn't have removed. There were some things that they broke that should not have been broken. Like, for example, one of the bedrooms had these bifold closet doors that it seems like the workers broke one of those doors, and so those doors had to be replaced. Things like that. But we kind of left it in the hands of the contractor, which was problem number two. We trusted the guy and we just assumed that he would do his job correctly. At first, the communication was really good, and then communication started to kind of fall off. He would say, this is done and this is done, and then we would go to the house and it actually wasn't completed. Like, it was in progress but not completed. For example, when we would check in and be like, hey, what's going on with the house? And he's like, the electrical is done, da da da. And then we go and it's like, no, it's not. These receptacles, like, there's a hole here. There's nothing even here. Like, it's not done. So all the red flags, right? But we are in the middle of it now, and our concern was that we needed to be able to get reimbursed for what we were spending. We needed to get reimbursed from the lender. The lender had certain specifications that had to happen before we could get reimbursed. So we paid a contractor and then they reimburse us. And it was kind of like a revolving kind of thing at that point. And so there was certain paperwork and certain requirements that we had to show before we could get reimbursed. One of the requirements was that they had to send an inspector out to make sure the work was completed. Whatever was said to be done had to actually be complete. And the second thing that had to happen was that the contractor had to sign a waiver saying that he was paid in full and that he could not ever put a lien on the property for this work that he has been paid for. We're learning as we go. So this is kind of like the learning house. Now, we did a walkthrough before any work started, before there was any demo or anything like that. We did a walkthrough. We talked through, okay, these are the things that we want to have done to the property. Keep in mind, all of this stuff that I'm telling you now was under extreme time pressure as we are trying to finalize the paperwork, the purchase paperwork, and the paperwork with the lenders and things like that. Like, we are put under a lot of pressure time-wise to get all of these different things turned in to them in a timely manner. And so one of those things was the scope of work. We've never done a scope of work. So we did not really have the knowledge about what that needed to be. We hire professionals because they are supposed to be the professional. But intellectually we knew that, you cannot just trust a contractor. But we're trying to navigate waters we've never been in before. And so we are doing things and trying to learn at the same time, which is probably not the best strategy. So anyway, fast forward, he's saying things are done that are not done, and we're like, look, we're not going to pay you because this is not done. This is like, this has to be completed before we can pay you. So, he started off responding and communicating well, and then like the communication started to slow down, and at some points, like, he was just not responding at all for like weeks at a time. Then he came with some kind of excuse. I was sick or something like that, and so is supposed to be there this week to work on this thing, and basically like kicking the can down the road the whole time. At some point, the guys came back in. They started doing more work. I would ask specific questions about certain things, like, is this included in the estimate, or is this something extra? Like, for example, the flooring. We had LVP flooring put down in the kitchen and in a couple of other areas of the house. When that was put down, I don't know if baseboards were already there or not, but no baseboards were put back in. And I asked, is baseboards included in the flooring estimate, or is that a separate item? And I got crickets. Like, so I would send emails with questions and pictures and ask about several different things, and he would respond and answer, basically pick and choose which questions to answer, and then I would respond back, but what about this question? Can you answer this question? And then he would just ignore it. So we had a meeting. We met at the house. We did another walkthrough, and I expressed my concerns. I told him, we kind of explained the situation with the lender and why no additional work could be done that was not previously approved, because that was another thing. Like, we would come in and like something was done that we were not aware that was going to be done, right? So we had a meeting. We explained that can't happen, and this is why. The lender was not going to reimburse us for anything that was not in the original scope of work. So unless we request a change, you can't just be doing stuff, basically. We have that meeting, and we think we're on the same page. We think that we have an understanding, and communication improves for a while, and then all work stops again. Drywall work had been done, but then like more electrical came through and tore up some stuff that needed to be like repaired because things were done out of order, which was another one of my issues with him was that, you know, I told him, I was like, you know, you kind of doing stuff backwards. You are doing things out of order. We've paid you to do drywall work, but then the electrician comes through and tears things up, and now that has to be redone again. So it's like things are done out of order. The electrical and plumbing should have been done first, and then the drywall. And I'm thinking, I'm a DIYer. Why do I know this? And you supposed to be a contractor. Like, why do I seem to know more than you do? Anyway, I digress. So as you can see, like, there was a lot of emotion wrapped up into this situation. We get to where they have now torn up the bathroom. I asked him to install a new tub because the tub that they had in there, like, they had a cutout to where it made it like more accessible for people with mobility issues. So you couldn't use the tub as a tub. I guess it could only be used as a shower, but it wasn't a shower, it was a tub. So and this is the only full bath in the house, so it needed to be a tub in the house. So they took out the old tub. The new tub was in the house, but not installed for several months. It was like leaning up against the wall where, you know, where the shower and tub is supposed to be. It's like leaning there for months. And during this time, we're like, what's going on? Nobody's been to the house. What's the problem? And he kept, first of all, was saying like, so-and-so's supposed to come this day or that day or something. They never show up. And then eventually he just stopped responding for like several months. At the same time, we were having some plumbing issues at our own house. My master bath had a leak from upstairs leaking into the master bathroom. So at the same time when all of that stuff was going on, we were trying to find a plumber to come to our house to do work. And we were having the same issue trying to find our own plumber for our own house. We would call someone, they were doing the same stuff, saying, I'll come by and check it out, and then never show up, or just don't return the phone call. We were having the same issue from several people, plumbers that we were trying to get to come out to our own house. So, and then he stopped responding to us about the investment property, so we didn't know what was going on. And we couldn't find anybody for our own house, so that means we couldn't get anybody to take over that property because it's like, what's going on? So we're trying to get him to respond and to say something. So we decided we just need to cut him off. So I sent him a text message and asked him, basically, have you abandoned our property? A little while later, he responded and was like apologizing. Oh, my daughter got bit by a spider and whatever, whoop-de-whoop. Okay, that's no excuse. It's been months, right? At this point, we've decided we are not going to do business with him anymore. Some of the work that he had done or that the people had done was like half done. So we're getting into like May, June, I think. And the plumber came back out and installed the tub and the shower surround. Okay, so now, okay, we're back making progress again. And then so he sends us an invoice. The contractor sends an invoice, and there are additional things on there on the invoice that are not completed. And we've already talked about this, that don't send me anything asking for money for something that's not completed. So we did not pay it. And we decided at that point, because it was so many problems, like we just decided we are just not going to pay him. He is going to have to take us to court if he wants any more money. We're not going to pay him. The shower surround was in, but none of the drywall work or nothing around it was done. And then we started looking at what was done, and it was like, I can do better than this. Not with the tub and the shower surround, but like all of the drywall work and stuff. Like, I can do better than this. You supposed to be a professional. Why am I looking at your work and thinking I, as a DIYer, can do better? Like, if that's true, what do I need you for? So we decided we don't need him. And we cut contact with him. So the plumber ended up contacting us directly because the contractor had been lying to him too. It's a whole mess. But he contacted us directly. We dealt with him directly to get him paid for the plumbing work that he had completed. And we just decided we just don't want to talk to this contractor again. And hopefully we don't ever see him like on the streets, because I don't know, there's a lot of anger there. So we may make a scene. But anyway, I'll try to keep it together. I cannot speak for Corey. But yeah, it's not good. So anyway, we decided to take over the project. So this was the end of July when we decided to just cut ties with everyone. We changed the locks. We were just like, we'll just take care of it ourselves from this point. So that is when all things stopped. Everything stopped except trying to work on this house. I have months and months of footage that I am trying to process and put together some kind of way that makes sense. I'm just gonna show it in chronological order, the way that I filmed it. We took over and Corey and I did most of the things ourselves. We did have a little bit of help with a couple of things, but for the most part, we basically like renovated this house, the two of us. The project was so mentally consuming that there was no room for anything else. So I could not even think about trying to edit or process any of the footage, because first of all, there was so much emotion wrapped up into it, but it was so overwhelming and stressful of trying to balance like my day job as a therapist and then like personal life and fostering good relationships. Like something had to give. YouTube was the first thing that fell off, and as time went on, other things started to be sacrificed as well, like self-care, not getting the proper rest, mentally being stressed out, financial strain obviously from carrying the load of renovating the property, but also like we still got to take care of our own bills and things like that. So basically trying to juggle 2 sets of bills on 2 properties and all of the things that come along with that. So it was a lot, and that's why I stopped posting, is because I had to divert all of that energy, the things that I would have been doing, all of the DIY projects that I had in the works, and the thoughts about what to do with that, posting on my second channel, that got put to the side. The garage makeover that I started last year is still in the same condition it was the last time you saw it. So that's still on the list of things to do. So there's lots of things that had to be put to the side because of this project and because of dealing with this contractor. Now I will say the positive side of the whole experience for me was the amount of knowledge and understanding that I have about things now, starting this year, that I did not have last year. Not only have I learned new DIY skills, but also on the business side of investing in real estate, I have learned so much that I don't think we'll have this problem ever again. And it will be very difficult for a general contractor to get my business. And the next time they do, which was mistake number 347, there will be an ironclad contract in place to prevent this type of situation from ever happening again. So, long story short, I'm back. I'm excited. I have a new mindset and a new outlook on this year. And this year, for me, I feel like it's going to be completely different from last year. I've reorganized. I have come up with a plan to prevent 2024 from carrying over into this year. So again, I'm back. I will be processing the footage from the investment property as quickly as I can. My goal is to post weekly, And in the meantime, while I am processing and sharing that, I will be probably throwing in some other videos because I do have some other projects that I'm going to get started on here pretty soon. And so there may be some breaks in there where you'll get some other project footage thrown in here and there. But this is going to be a multi-part series of sharing our journey with this investment property. So y'all pray for me. I got a lot of work ahead of me, but I'm excited, and this is my happy place. So, yeah, I'm back. So let's do this.